Welcome back in this third video, which will focus on what might Brexit look like. I will talk about how we can define a hard or a soft Brexit, but also no deal, and what are the Swiss model and the Norwegian model. This video is a complete guess about what could happen. First, just a reminder. Now we are in June in 2018. Until October this year, the negotiations to reach a deal will keep going. From October this year to the 29th of March next year, it will be the ratification of the deal. Last weekend, thousands of people went down on streets and asked for a referendum on the draft deal. Then, in 2020, it will be the end of the transitional period. Even if we don't know what to expect as a future deal, we can try to guess to what it might look like. And between all of the possibilities which exist, which one is the most likely going to happen? There are at least 6 possibilities. A hard deal, a Turkish or Canadian models, a soft deal, a Swiss model, a Norwegian model, or no deal at all. Let's try to understand what a hard deal would mean. A hard deal would mean that all of the ties between the EU and the UK will be cut. It seemed that it's what Theresa May wanted, but recently she proposed a free trade area to the EU. Her new plan is more similar as a soft Brexit. Let's come back to the definition of a hard deal. A hard deal would lead the UK to withdraw from the single market. The single market refers to the EU as one territory. It's an agreement which allows the free movement of goods, services, capitals, and people. People are free to live or work where they want. Companies are free to establish themselves where they want within the Eurozone. For example, if a Greek company finds some great opportunities in Poland, it can just move there. Then the goods and capitals are just free and circulate everywhere. Another point, if a hard Brexit happens, is that UK would leave the customs union. The customs union promotes free trade within the union. A few days ago, the government put online a notification about the customs union. Apparently, the UK will stay in the customs union until 2021. It's not a long-term solution, but it helps to keep a soft border between the Northern Ireland and Ireland. In the case of a hard Brexit, it would mean that the UK wouldn't have to contribute to the EU budget anymore. Indeed, every year, UK gives €12.760 billion to the EU and receives €7.052 billion from the EU. Consequently, the UK would have control back on borders, sovereignty, fishery and agriculture policies and be part of the World Trade Organization. Therefore, the relationship with the EU would be based on the World Trade Organization terms. Then we have the possibility of a soft Brexit. A soft Brexit would lead to the remain of the UK either in the customs union or the single market or both with a special deal. But it would also mean that the UK would probably have to pay a contribution to the EU. There are 2 existing models which could look like what a soft Brexit might be. These 2 models are the Norwegian and the Swiss model. Both of them are part of the EFTA, which is a European Free Trade Association. EFTA is an agreement concluded between the EU and 4 countries: Norway, Switzerland, Iceland, Liechtenstein. All of these 4 countries, except Switzerland, are part of the EEA, which is a European Economic Area. Being an EFTA and EEA member gives the access to the single market without being an EU member state. But it also means that these countries need to apply most of the laws arising from the single market, except laws on agriculture and fisheries. Despite the fact that Switzerland isn't a member of EEA, it still has many bilateral treaties with the EU about trading. The last possibility would be no deal. No deal would mean that UK would leave the EU without any agreement or trade deal. It could be a complete disaster in many areas, such as for citizens. Indeed, if nothing is agreed, all of the EU citizens living in UK and all of the UK citizens living in EU could lose their right to stay in the country they are in. In other words, it's really essential to reach an agreement, even if some Eurosceptics think that no deal would be the best deal. It could still lead to a complete chaos, and either the UK or the EU wouldn't benefit from it. To conclude, I'm going to share with you my personal hypothesis on what might Brexit look like. I can't really imagine the possibility of a hard Brexit happening. Even if Theresa May wants to negotiate towards that direction, in my eye, it's a strategy to obtain the more she can. She probably knows that Michel Barnier and the EU won't let the UK going away freely. A thing to keep in mind is that once you are part of the EU, it's hard to go away and get completely independent from the EU. Indeed, all of the EU laws are very well included in the member state system. So, I make the hypothesis that the UK might join the EFTA for a limited period of time and stay longer in the customs union than expected. To me, it seems that a soft Brexit is the possibility which is the most likely going to happen. So now we are at the end of this video. Here is a little summary of the whole video. It was the last video on this topic. I hope these videos have been helpful and interesting for you. Thank you for watching and take care. Bye!